Our next guest wrote about it in a recent CNBC.com op-ed. He says China is threatening its own position as the world's second largest economy. Let's bring in our friend Ron Insana, CNBC contributor, senior advisor at Schroders. It seems like they really are almost cutting off their nose to spite their face with all of the things they have done, not only to clamp down on businesses, but to silence or disappear an awful lot of their most prominent business people. Right, Ron?
Yeah, Tyler, I would suggest that, it's not just the regulatory crackdown, but it goes well beyond that and beyond some of the concerns that the SEC might have about accounting and transparency. I think, China with this kind of Orwellian surveillance state and more taking over effectively what used to be independent entities and making them potentially state run as opposed to state owned enterprises may very well keep them from progressing farther. And then when you add to that the militaristic attitude that's become more and more commonplace around Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the South China Sea, I worry that they are threatening the global order as it stands right now. And that could lead not necessarily to a shooting war, which is, I think, a low probability event, but an economic war down the road that could have rather serious consequences, not just for the globe, but maybe even more so for China itself.
I'll come back to that idea of an economic war and whether indeed we're already in one with China, or the West is. But let me ask you the simple, dumb question, which is, why are they doing this? Why is Xi on this path?
Well, I mean, it's almost a replay of the Maoist experience. It's power and politics over prosperity and profitability. And I think, that is a dangerous concept. As I described China in my piece, the USSR, the Union of Sino-Soviet Republics, they're beginning to act more and more like Russia during the Cold War, or more like China during the Cultural Revolution, with the amount of oppression that's going on and obviously the internal human rights abuses that are taking place in the millions when it comes to their Muslim minorities. So I am concerned that the model that they've created, unlike what Deng Xiaoping was doing when he said he didn't care what kind of economy they had as long as it worked, or more precisely, he didn't care what kind of mousetrap they used as long as it caught mice. That's not exactly the expression, but they've veered away from that rather dramatically. And after 40 years of liberalization, and my colleague from the Wall Street Journal, Jason Zweig, recently put up a decade-old column on China on Twitter, outlining that each time since the mid-19th century that China has opened to the West, it has also then closed back down later on.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.